right. I want to address what happened over the weekend. Aside from the standards I have for myself, I do understand that as a coach in this league, there are certain standards from the NFL and from the Minnesota Vikings, and I didn't live up to those standards. The last thing I would ever want to do is detract from the attention being on the great things that these guys do on the field, and so that was unfortunate for me. I do believe in being accountable and learning from your mistakes, accepting whatever discipline may come down the road, and growing from it and going forward with a positive attitude.
Questions for Wes?
It sounds like you were just right on the edge, though. It became you thought you were under the limit because .08 is right there. You say you have to be so close. Like anyone would probably do that.
I don't, at this point, it doesn't really matter where I was at. The important thing is just to learn from the mistakes that were made and move forward.
Hey, Wes, is the understanding that you're going to continue coaching? No interruptions here moving forward?
I'm not the one who's going to make that decision, so I'm just going to keep coaching until they tell me otherwise.
Wes, what were conversations like with Kevin in the aftermath?
Well, the people that care about you and care about obviously this team, but care about me personally, have been extremely supportive. A lot of people have reached out around the league to, just tell you to keep your head up. There's, things like this happen. When they happen, there can be some times where you feel like crawling in a hole, but the only way I know how to do it is to face it one day at a time, go back to work and do everything I can to not make it right, but learn from it and grow.
In what ways do you think you've learned from it, and whether you do it differently or change
Well,
your
I would
approach?
certainly do something differently. Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten myself in that situation.
Wes, how quickly did you inform the team after the
Immediately.
stop and the arrest?
Immediately. Yeah.
Did you just call Kevin, or did you call Quasey, or how did you go about it?
The details of the whole situation I'm not really going to get into. We are where we are, and going to try to, as soon as I can, put this behind me.
They kind of said we're going to wait till the end of the season, or just because it's so late now, or it takes a while for this stuff to kind of play out.
Don't know the timeline on all of that. Again, I will accept whatever comes my way, understanding of the mistakes I made, and I'll own it, and we'll move forward.
Hey, Wes, from your perspective, just what were the shortcomings on offense in the game?
Well, I appreciate the football question there. I think ultimately it was good to see us run the football in a lot of ways. Had a good yards per carry, had some efficient runs. In the pass game is where we had some deficiencies. There were some sacks. There were some drops. There was some quarterback play where we could have been a little better. So it was kind of a combination of some things. Some guys were taking some turns, and ultimately it wasn't up to our standard as an offense, certainly.
Wes, what do you think Nick will bring to the offense?
Well, Nick's played a lot of football. Nick knows this offense well. He's been with us for a while. He knows this system. As good of a job and as appreciative as I am of Josh, Nick probably is more comfortable in our system just from being here longer, getting the reps throughout an off season and throughout training camp. So I think you'll see an efficient group.
Wes, how much does that play into it when it's a quarterback that's been in your system as it's existed over the last couple of years, as opposed to somebody coming in and trying to learn it, or having to figure out how much you adjusted for that new quarterback being here?
Well, I think when you come in mid-season, no matter what position, it's like learning the alphabet, right? Everyone else got it from A to Z, and he's kind of jumping in at Z. And really, you're learning the game plan. And some of the words that we use that have some meaning behind them, you're not necessarily getting all of that. You're just memorizing a lot of things and a lot of plays. So, I know Nick is a great competitor. I know there aren't many guys that were hurting as much to not be out there when he was injured. So I know he's really hungry for this opportunity, and I think he's going to make the most of it.
Wes, how much did Justin's absence so early in that game change maybe the way the defense played and how you guys had to respond?
It is challenging when you do have plays that are designed, at least in part, to have one of the greatest players in the NFL as a part of that progression, as usually the first part of that progression, and then when he goes down, there's some adjustments that need to be made, certainly, and then there were guys that had to switch positions as well, so to make up for it. So I do give those guys credit, those wide receivers that went in. One guy I do want to mention is Blake Brendel, who played a really good game at right guard. A guy who kind of found out during the week that he was going to be starting in the game and played really well.
Yeah, the offensive line went through, losing BO too, and Dalton was out for a little bit too. How did you guys keep that group going?
Well, I think that's just the development of those guys over time, so that when they get their opportunity, they're ready to step in and ready to execute. Schlotman, he didn't know if he was going to play 2 plays or the rest of the game. So for him to come in and play guard, which he's played more center in his career. So I just give credit to the coaches and to those individual players who were ready when they were called upon.